Last session, right after vCenter server installation, we tried to install the component VC client. During VC client installation, the .NET due to .NET framework, the client tool not able to install. So what we did is we installed .NET framework. Along with .NET framework, it installed IIS. Due to which, what happens on the server? There is a conflict with the port number. There is a conflict with port 80 with the vCenter server component and the IIS component. Due to which the services, the vCenter server services are not coming online. So what we did is we identified by going to each service why it is not starting, what is the dependency. By going to services, opening service, go to open services on any server, connect to AD server. Meanwhile, let it come online. Just I'm going to describe what is the issue. So the services, why the services is not starting. So how to troubleshoot, where to start. So we started services, each service, properties of each service there, the dependency option is there. Once you identify the dependencies, we verified each service, try to start that particular service. Finally, we identified one particular service is not dependent. It is terminating. It is not able to start because of some unexpected issue. So immediately, as soon as we notice that service is terminating unexpectedly, where do we need to check the log? Event viewer. The logs will be there for each function. So by going to the event viewer, we came to know that it is unexpected termination happening. So why it is happening like that? We went back to internet and searched that error, and we came to know that there is a conflict with the port number. Port number for each application, there is a unique port number to function that particular application on respect to server. For example, browser HTTP is going to work on port 80. The same port is required for vCenter server services, and at the same time, it is using by one of the application on the Windows server. How to identify? By using netstat command, we identified what are the ports are listening. So immediately we uninstall that component, what it is causing, what it is giving the conflict. We uninstall that component and able to start the vCenter server service. That's what we did yesterday, but it took long time to identify that issue. So finally, vCenter server is up. Go to services and see what is the point we identified. Go to run services.msc. Okay, no problem. Just double click, go to standard. Click on one service, anything which is started already. Properties. Dependencies. By seeing this dependency, if a service is not starting or anything, we need to identify what are the dependent service. So finally, we identified what is the two services, remote procedure call, terminal device. To start remote desktop service, these first two services should be in start state. Because if it is not starting, that service is dependence. So we go there and try to identify the services. Finally, we went like that and find out one service is not dependent, but it is terminating unexpected reason. How do you identify? while starting the service, it is going to throw an error. The service, the dependent service is not starting, due to which it is not starting. If you try to start one service, it will throw an error. It states that an unexpected error. So like that, we can identify the issue. That's what we did in troubleshooting. Okay, the where to start, how to identify the issue, isolate the issue, and for that particular problem. In that way, we can troubleshoot any particular issue in server administration. So vCenter server is up online, no issues. We are able to connect vCenter server and services are getting started. So let's start update manager installation. Why the update manager? Go to that server, we try to connect RDP to vCenter server. Update manager, we know that we already discussed about update manager. What is the importance of update manager? Update manager is to perform patches installation, ESXi host patch installation, and at the same time, it is very useful to perform VM version. Let's wait. The server is coming online. Let's wait for the server. Go to connect console and see what is happening. So the update manager important function is to perform patches installation on ESXi host and VM version on VMs update and the VMware tools update. If an enterprise environment, if only one or two, there won't be any chance of having one or two servers, one or two ESXi hosts or VMs. There are thousands of virtual machines, hundreds of ESXi hosts. To perform update on the respective servers, what we are going to do is we are going to perform certain functions like downloading patches. If you install Windows 2008 R2 server, what we are going to do right after installation, we are going to perform an update, installing whatever the updates are available for secure server hardening. As part of server hardening, we need to make sure server is up to date with the patches, drivers, and firmware. Everything, ever accept, we are going to check. Similar way, in virtualization layer, ESXi host also is an operating system. For that operating system also, there will be patches, updates, drivers, everything will be there. So if it is a single ESXi host, it is easy to perform. We can download and install the respective updates. But if it is number of servers, if it is a number of servers, what we are going to do, how to do, perform an action. So during that, we need to identify what is the issues and all those things. So the update manager is one of the important component to perform updates on ESXi host. We can do upgrades as well. Updates are different, upgrades are different. Updates in the sense from same version, within the same version, there are new component is going to add, or they are going to fix the bug within the component. For that, they are going to release the patches and updates. So those are updates. What is the upgrade? Upgrade is nothing but from one version to other version. If you are going to do from one version to other version, that comes under upgrade. So to perform updates and upgrades, we should have an update manager in our environment. So how we are going to do that? Open this path location where we copied the dump. Go to console, go to console, go to console and path and vCenter server, we are going to install update manager.
Wow.
Open vCenter,
Which console?
vCenter server, open our vCenter server console. RTP is not happening.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Just give a try one more time. The services are going to start. It takes 10 to 15 minutes time to come online. No worries about that. Let it come online. We are going to see. Generally, whenever the vCenter server is going to come online, depending upon the resources availability and services, as we install vCenter component, PSA component, and DB component, everything on the same server, due to which generally it's a general behavior. It will take nearly 10 to 15 minutes time to come online. Until that time, we are not in a position to connect RDP. We are not able to perform any action. So we are going to access our server now, and we are going to start update manager installation. Once update manager, it is a small component, but it provides a more advanced features to perform updates and upgrades for ESXi host and virtual machines. We are going to see how to configure and everything. I'm going to show you. This time, what I'm going to do only, I'm going to show you update manager installation. Once update manager installation is done, we'll come back how to perform ESXi host update, how to perform VMs to later versions, and all those things we'll see through update manager. We can do manual installation. We can perform auto updates by using update manager. So we should understand what is update manager. That's the reason I'm explaining all these components. This is just installation. Configuration, it is different. Altogether, the configuration is totally different. Understanding the components is totally different. This is just installation. Why we are going to do, what is the advantages by doing so? That's what we are discussing here. Once installation is done, we are ready to go with vCenter server connection, and we are going to identify what's the difference between these two and everything. Maximize the window. No problem. Go open my computer, go to the path. Before installing update manager, what are the things we need to check? Similar way, how we perform vCenter server update or vCenter server installation, what are the prerequisites we are verified. The same way for update manager also, some components are required. What are the components? First component, vCenter server should up and running, because update manager is going to install on top of it vCenter server. So we need to make sure vCenter server is working fine so that we can perform update manager installation. If the update manager we are going to install on the same server, that is fine. If you are going to install on a different server, then what we need a Windows 2008 R2 server, and a DB component also is required. Yes, we are using the same server. So on the same server, VC server is running. So there is no dependency to verify, because vCenter server is running on the same server. We are able to connect that vCenter server, and then we are going to start. There is already DB component is already installed. V Postgres DB is already installed. If you are going with a different server altogether, to install update manager, what are the prerequisites? First one, vCenter server should be up and running. Second one, I need a 2000 server Windows server to install update manager component, and one more DB component is also required. In generally enterprise environment, a DB server will be there on separate entity, separate network. So on that DB server, they are going to create instances. Instances in the sense, for one DB instance for vCenter server, one DB instance for update manager function. So there will be two database instances for two functions. What are the two functions? vCenter server installation, vCenter server function, and update manager function. Yes, we are doing installation on the same server. Server is already there, 2008 server is there. First component VC Center is running on this server. Try to connect vCenter server first. Come back to desktop and try to access vCenter server. Open web client and VC client as well, both. So first check what we are going to do. Are we able to connect vCenter server or not? vCenter server is up or not? We need to cross check before proceeding installation of update manager, because update manager is going to check VC component. So once VC component is up and running, then we can proceed with the next step. Connect to VC client as well. Check that service, web client service is started or not. vCenter server service, VMware vCenter server started. Okay, good. Web client started. Web client is not started. See here, due to which you are not able to connect web client. Low. So let's start the web client server. Web client. Start the web client. For update manager installation, web client is not a mandatory component. Only vCenter server should be up and running. So we are going to check that component. Am I able to connect vCenter server? The web client is going to take some time to connect. Our main intention is we need to check vCenter server is connecting. Either I need to use web client or I can check VC client as well. Try to connect VC client. Web client is going to take another 5 minutes to come online. Administrator 8, administrator 8, administrator 8, vSphere.local. This is the first check before installing update manager. It is starting. Okay, it is connecting the server. No issues. Let it connect. Come back to the vCenter server. I'm able to connect vCenter server. The test is done. The prerequisite is first step is done. Second step is I have a Windows 2008 server. I'm the same server. I'm going to install update manager. Okay. Come back to open RDP, vCenter server RDP. Open the go to path. Dump. We have a dump, right? Installation dump. Right click on auto run. Run as an administrator. Is in this component, there is an update manager plugin is available. We are going to install update manager server. Why the server is slow? Because we are using the lab environment. The lab environment has a limited resources, and due to which it is going to take time. In addition to that, we are installing all components on the same server. So that's the reason it's going to be slow. If you open the task manager, open task manager and see what is the performance of the server. See, the memory utilization is touching 100% nearly. Okay, due to which it is taking time to load. We can increase the memory once the update manager instance is installed. We are going to increase current memory to add 8 GB memory and see the performance. Okay, minimize this. Now we are going to install what we are going to vSphere update manager. See here, there is a server. Select vSphere update manager, the server component. Click on install. See here, there is an option here. Wait. There is an option here. What is the option? vSphere Update Manager is a Windows-based program and embedded database option. As I told you, we need a server, operating system. On top of it, server, we are going to lose Update Manager. So server component is done. The second component, what is required? DB component. The DB component is an option. See here, what is the DB component? Embedded database option. Embedded database option, update manager, we can use either separate DB instance or we can use SQL Express. What is the Postgres, is it supporting or not? We are going to see existing database. If this Postgres is not going to support, what we have to use? We have to use, in addition to the update manager server, the inbuilt database, embedded database option. Embedded database option is this checkbox is there. It is going to install Microsoft SQL Server 2012 Express on the same server. We are not going to select this option. Let's say proceed with installation. If it is taking, we already installed vPostgres database on the same server. If it is going to create a database on the same component, that is fine. Otherwise, we'll come back and install Microsoft SQL 2012 Express. Okay, proceed next. We are not selecting here now. Okay, proceed next. For each component, what are the component we are going to install any place, any desktop or any place, we need to check, pre-check. What are the requirements? All the requirements are meeting or not. Okay. Then only we have to proceed further. Next. Accept. See here, this checkbox must and should enable. One more important requirement is this update manager, what it is going to do, it is going to download the patches by connecting to VMware vendor site. To download the patches, the server should have an internet access. What this checkbox is going to do right after installation, it is going to start the updates downloading from the respective vendor site. By default, we need to enable this checkbox. At the same time, the particular server is not having internet access. We need to make sure we are enabled internet access for the respective server. Okay, click next. See, this is a vCenter server information. Because the update manager we are installing, how it is connecting. It is required vCenter server should up and running. So what is my vCenter server? For which vCenter server I'm creating this update manager? I need to connect that vCenter server first. Okay, that's the reason it is prompting. What is vCenter server? My environment, it is 36. So I'm going to provide in credentials, administrator at vSphere.local and the password. If you are not able to connect vCenter server, the installation will not continue. Okay. It is connected. What is the database DNS name it is going to connect? Use the existing supported database. So it is going to create a database source DSN. So existing database is detected that Postgres, it is going to connect. Click next. The DSN enter the 30-bit does not exist. It is not in a 30-bit system. DSN update manager request 32-bit DSN. See, we install a Postgres, Postgres database, we install that Postgres database, what type of architecture that it is a 64-bit architecture, but update manager to work, what is required? 32-bit DSN, 32-bit database is required. That's the reason it is not detecting the existing Postgres. That's what we need to compare. What is the requirements? Everything we need to cross check. So we are not in a position to proceed further without DB component. So we are going back with installation and select that Microsoft SQL Express, the inbuilt DB. We are going to install that by as part of this installation and proceed to the next. Click OK. Go back. Starting the phase of installation, we are going to select that DB component. Next. No. Cancel. Cancel and start installation again. Finish. See here, wait. Select the checkbox. Use Microsoft SQL Server Express embedded database. Yes. So what it is going to do, it is going to install 32-bit database instant, that is DSN, we call it as database instance name, that is 32-bit architecture. What we posters, we already installed DB. What is the DB we install? The DB is a V Postgres that supports only 64-bit. There is no support option for 32-bit. That's the reason update manager is not in a position to use that existing database. So it is going to install SQL Server Express database. It is a small component. It is not useful for enterprise environment. Enterprise environment, separate DB server will be there, and the separate DB server, the DB team can create a 32-bit instance for this update manager and provide that information. Let it complete the installation. What we are going to do is, before completing this installation, we are going to add some features. What is that feature? Come back to this, minimize this. We'll monitor this. It will complete installation. Once complete, we'll proceed with the respective steps. During the installation, I'm going to show you what we need to do right after vCenter server installation. We need to make sure connect to this web client, and then we need to add a single sign-on. We are going to use the domain login credentials to perform our actions. So same domain users I need to use to access this vCenter server. Right now, what user ID I'm using? Administrator at vSphere.local. That is a single sign-on component. That is a user component, user database management for vCenter server installation. So what I need to do, I need to make use of single sign-on concept. Single sign-on concept by using domain credentials. How to use that? How to add a domain credentials? Let's see how to do that. Come back to this, minimize this, come back to the web client. We already connect to vCenter server. Okay, open, be here. Go to permissions, go to permissions. See, these are all the permissions are available. These users can able to access vCenter server. Now I need to make sure I should be able to access the vCenter server by using my domain credentials. So I need to add the domain user permission for this particular service. How to do that? Right click on place, add permission. So I need to provide a domain permissions. I should be able to use my domain credential to access this vCenter server. Right now I'm using administrator at vSphere.local, due to which it is not able to perform any action. Okay, now click on add. See, under domain place, it is providing options. What are the options are available under domain? It is providing only server and vSphere.local. Let it come up. Drop down that domain place. See here, it is showing a local server and a vSphere.local. vSphere.local is nothing but it is a vCenter server user management, data user management. vSphere.local, while installing, we created a user administrator at vSphere.local. That is it is going to represent to vCenter server installation user management. Now my requirement is I should in a position to use my domain users. I should be able to provide permissions for domain users. So how to do that? We need to add an identity source for this particular vCenter server so that I can provide permission for my domain users. How to do that? Cancel here, go to web client. Even I told you in certain sessions to perform certain functions, VC client, we cannot perform under VC client. We have to use web client only. So to add an identity source in the sense we are going to integrate Active Directory to my vCenter server. So how to do that? Open web client. Side by side, check that update manager installation. Okay, it's still going on. Okay, good. Parallelly, we are covering two topics. Okay, one is update manager installation. One is adding identity source for my vCenter server installation. Okay.